Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing well. So now we are going to discuss about the test of a single variance, right? So now the topic that we are going to follow, and that is the test of single variance. So what I would do is that I would get out some space here. I would just take out a different color so as to write out the things. And okay, where is that? Yeah, right here. Let me put on the topic first of all. So the topic which you're going to follow is test of our single variance. So here goes the single and here goes the variance, right? So yeah, this is the topic that we are going to follow, that is test of a single variance. So let's see that what here we have in this particular one. So I would start writing up, and with the writing only I will explain you the rest of the things, right? So here goes that a test of single single variance assumes the underlying distribution is normal. Right, so the basically what this particular test of single variance is used for. So the test of single variance assumes that the underlying distribution, the distribution which we are having, that's completely of the normal form. Okay. Next we have the null and alternate hypothesis. The null and alternate hypotheses are stated in terms of the population variance, or basically, or you could say, or that as well means the regarding the or population standard deviation, right? So the null and the alternate hypothesis which we have right here for all of the ones. So the null and the alternate hypothesis are stated in terms of the population variance. So whatever the null and hypothesis we get here and whatever we just like find out and all the things, so those are stated in the terms of the population variance, or you could call as population standard deviation as well, right? So finding out the hypothesis onto this case for the test of single variance, that is in the you could say population variance form, or you could say in the population standard deviation form. Right, now what are the tests that we are having? What's the formula which we have out here? So let me just go above. Right here. Okay. Now let me put on the formula. So the test statistic is, what's the test statistic that we are having out here? So that is n minus 1 multiplication s square divided by sigma square. So this is a test statistic which we are having out here. It's n minus 1 multiplication s square divided by sigma square, right? This is the formula which we have out here. Now what are these terms referring to? Whatever I had just mentioned up here, so let's see that out here. So in the one which I mentioned at the very starting, that is basically the total. It's the total number of data, right? So the term which we are using out here, which is n, that is the total number of data, right? Now coming to the new line, here I have the s square. So what is that s square? So it's the sample variance. So it's the sample variance, right? And next I'm having the third one, that's the sigma square. So that sigma square is the population, it's the population variance. like this, right? So for n we are having the total number of data. For s square we are having the sample variance, and for sigma square we are having out the population variance, right? So these are the different denotions which we are having for the terms which we have used above in the formula. Okay, now next thing is that basically we have one more thing here to be discussed out, that now you may think think of S as the random variable in this test, right? You may think of S as a random variable in this test. So degrees of freedom, I would just come down and then write it out. So okay, here it goes. The degrees of freedom. So the degrees of freedom which we are having, right, is degrees of freedom are, and that is df is equal to n minus 1. So the degrees of freedom we are having is n minus 1, which is similar to all of the ones which we have as well studied before as well. Okay, it's completely similar to those, right? So df is equal to n minus 1. Now, when we are talking about a single variance test, so I will just write that out, that a test of a single variance, let me come down. So basically a test of a single variance may be right-tailed, basically it can be right-tailed, or it can be left-tailed, or it could be two-tailed, right? So a test of a single variance, these can be three conditions regarding the test of a single variance, that it could be right-tailed, it could be left-tailed, or it could be two-tailed as well, right? So in the single variance, these three conditions actually apply out, right? So what is the test of a single variance? So test of a single variance assumes that the underlying distribution is normal. Like whatever distribution we are getting, that is normal. Fine. The null and the alternate hypotheses are stated in terms of the population variance. So whenever we just find out the null and the alternate hypothesis, so in that case we say out that we just like give out the answer, we say out in the terms in the form of the population variance or the population standard deviation. For the population variance and the popular deviation, standard deviation formula, that we are already very much aware with, because we had already seen that into our previous videos, right? Next, basically, we are having regarding the test statistic. So the test statistic is, we have the formula that's n minus 1 multiplication s square upon sigma square, right? So yeah, this dot which I had put on, that's a multiplication sign. It's not that any decimal point or anything like that. No, it's not like that. Okay. Great. Now next downside we are having the value for n. So the value for n we are having that the total number of data. What about the s square? So for s square we have sample variance. We have sigma square. So what about the sigma square? We have the population variance. Right. So now you may think of that s as a random variable in this particular test. So in that case the degrees of freedom which we are having right here is df is equal to n minus 1, right? So our test of a single variance may be right-tailed, left-tailed, or it could be two-tailed as well, right? It depends basically on the condition, that what kind of values and what kind of conditions you are given out, and according to that basically it gets out decided that it is right-tailed, left-tailed, or two-tailed. Right, so hope I meet up this thing as well very much clear to you regarding the different types of tests, and even I just made out the things very much clear to you regarding the test of a single variance. So we'll be seeing up more topics in our new videos. This is all for this video. Till then, thank you and take care.